It's Friday afternoon. You've got plans tonight. Your friends are meeting at that new bar downtown, the one everyone's been talking about. You told them you'd be there weeks ago, but right now, sitting at your desk, you feel something shift inside you. A weight lifts. Your phone buzzes with a confirmation text, and instead of excitement, you feel relief. That quiet, guilty kind of relief. And then comes the lie. Something small. You're not feeling well. Maybe you have to work late. Maybe your car is acting up. Anything. And the second you hit send, you sink back into your chair, and there's this moment, this perfect moment, where the weight is completely gone. Your evening opens up like a present you didn't know you were getting. You can already feel it. The quiet of your apartment, your favorite sweats, your couch waiting for you, the silence. No small talk, no trying, no performing. Just you in your space, finally exhaling. And yes, part of you feels bad about the lie. Part of you worries what they'll think. But mostly, you just feel relieved. If that feeling just hit you somewhere deep, this video is for you. Because here's the thing that nobody wants to admit. That relief you feel isn't a character flaw. It's not antisocial. It's not even laziness. It's your nervous system telling you something true about how you're actually wired. And the strange part is how guilty we've been taught to feel about listening to it. Most people don't realize this, but your brain has been working overtime all day. Not just thinking about work, but managing social signals, calculating what to say and when, reading the room, adjusting your energy to match whoever you're with. It's exhausting in a way that's hard to even put into words because you're not physically tired, you're neurologically depleted. It's like you've been running a background process in your mind that never stops, and by the time Friday comes around, something in you just wants to turn that process off. Mark knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's the kind of person people describe as outgoing. He makes friends easily. He's charismatic in meetings. People genuinely like being around him. But what nobody sees is that when he gets home, he doesn't want to see anyone for days. He'll ignore texts, he'll order in, he'll just exist in his space without having to be anyone. His roommate used to think he was depressed. His family thought he was being rude. But Mark wasn't struggling, he was recovering. And it goes deeper than that. There's something called social overstimulation that your brain can experience, especially if you're sensitive to input from the world around you. You absorb details. You pick up on tension. You notice when someone's having a bad day, even if they don't mention it. Your nervous system is like a highly tuned antenna, and sometimes that antenna just needs to be turned down. Sometimes it needs to be completely off. When you're home alone, you get to control that antenna. You decide what comes in. No unexpected conversations. No sudden loud noises. No having to read someone's facial expression to understand how they're actually feeling. Everything can just be simple. And the relief isn't laziness. It's your brain asking for what it actually needs. But here's the part that gets complicated. Because you also live in a world where staying home is sometimes seen as weak, where declining plans feels like you're rejecting the people who invited you, where the internal voice in your head says you should be out there, experiencing things, meeting people, building your social life. Everyone else seems to be doing it. Everyone else seems to want it. So you feel broken for not wanting the same thing. You feel broken for wanting the quiet instead. That's where the guilt really comes from. Not from the canceling, not from the lie, but from the conflict between what your nervous system is telling you it needs and what you think you're supposed to want. And it goes deeper than introversion, even though introversion is part of it. There's a concept called decision fatigue. By the time Friday comes around, you've made thousands of tiny decisions. Which outfit? Which words to use? How to sit? What to say in the meeting? How to respond to your coworker's personal question? Whether to laugh at something that wasn't actually funny? Each of these decisions uses up a small amount of cognitive energy, and by evening, that energy is gone. Your brain is running on empty. The thought of going out and making even more decisions, where to go, what to wear, what to talk about, how to respond to new people, It feels impossible. Not because you're lazy, because you're genuinely exhausted. Sarah experienced this in a different way. She's a therapist. She listens to people all day. That's her job. She's excellent at it. People feel heard around her. But by the time she gets home, there's almost nothing left. She doesn't want to be in group settings. She doesn't want to make conversation. She just wants to exist in a space where she doesn't have to attune to anyone else's emotional needs. And for years, she felt guilty about this. Like being good at her job meant she should want to do versions of it outside of work. Like her capacity should be infinite. But capacity isn't infinite. It's real. It's limited. And respecting those limits isn't failure. It's actually the smartest thing you can do. But wait, there's something else happening too. When you're at home, your dopamine works differently. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that makes you feel motivated and engaged. In the outside world, dopamine comes from stimulation, from novelty, from social interaction, from the unexpected. Your brain evolved that way because new experiences were survival critical. But at home, in your controlled space, dopamine can come from simple things, from comfort, from routine, from knowing what's going to happen next. There's actually a deep satisfaction in predictability that the outside world rarely offers. Most people don't realize that the reason you feel so calm at home isn't because you're depressed or avoidant. It's because your nervous system has downshifted into a parasympathetic state. You're in rest and digest mode. Your body can finally relax. Your shoulders aren't tense. You're not analyzing. You're not performing. You're just being. And that state of being is so rare in modern life that when you finally get it, it makes sense that you don't want to leave it. There's also something about emotional safety that matters more than we talk about. Your home is a place where you don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to wonder if people are judging you. In the outside world, even if you're not consciously thinking about it, part of your nervous system is always on alert. Is this person trustworthy? Do they like me? Am I saying the right thing? That alertness is exhausting. It's a low-level stress that never quite goes away. But at home, that alert system can shut down completely. You're safe. And there's something about genuine safety that makes everything else feel less important. Alex realized this about himself recently. He used to push himself to go out all the time because he thought that's what normal people do. He'd go to parties and bars and networking events, and he'd feel miserable the entire time. Not because he had social anxiety, not because he didn't like people, but because every interaction was costing him energy that he didn't actually have to give. It wasn't until he gave himself permission to stay home that he realized something. On the nights when he stayed home and actually enjoyed himself, he woke up the next day feeling energized instead of depleted. He actually wanted to be social, but only after he'd recovered. Only when he had the energy to genuinely engage instead of just surviving the evening. And this is where it gets interesting, because the people who feel the most guilt about staying home are often the people with the biggest hearts, the most sensitive people, the people who care deeply about not hurting anyone's feelings. They imagine their friends disappointed. They imagine being seen as unreliable. They imagine the worst. So they push themselves to go, and they suffer through it. And then they feel resentful because they sacrificed what they needed for something they didn't actually want. The cycle becomes push, suffer, resent, feel guilty, push harder next time. But what if that wasn't the only option? What if the people in your life who actually matter would want you to be honest? What if they'd rather know that you need space than have you show up depleted and checked out? What if the real connection wasn't about how often you see each other, but about how genuine you are when you do? Jenna learned this the hard way. She had a close friend group, and for years, she was the one who showed up even when she didn't want to. She'd push herself because she thought that's what friendship meant. She thought it meant sacrifice. But eventually, she had a conversation with one of her closest friends, and she admitted the truth. That sometimes she needed to say no. That sometimes she needed to be alone. And instead of her friend being hurt or angry, They said they already knew. They knew she wasn't always present, even when she was physically there. And they respected her more for being honest about it. That's when Jenna understood something fundamental. The pretense was the problem, not the saying no. So here's what I want you to know. Your preference for staying home isn't a flaw that needs fixing. It's not laziness disguised as self-care. It's not antisocial behavior that needs to be corrected. It's actually your body and mind telling you something true. That you're someone who needs restoration. That you're someone who values depth over breadth. That you're someone who's sensitive to the world around them. And that sensitivity is actually a strength, even though it doesn't always feel like one. The relief you feel when you cancel plans isn't guilt, it's recognition. It's your nervous system telling you what it actually needs. And every single time you honor that, you're teaching yourself that your needs matter, that your peace matters, that your energy matters. You don't need to be the person who goes out every night. You don't need to have a packed social calendar. You don't need to apologize for being someone who recharges alone. The world has plenty of people who get energy from being around others. The world also needs people who find peace in solitude, people who think deeply, people who feel fully, people who know when to rest. So maybe tonight, instead of feeling guilty about wanting to stay in, you just let yourself have it. You let yourself have the quiet, the comfort, the safety of your own space. And you notice how good that feels. Not in a way that means you're broken, but in a way that means you're listening to yourself. And that's actually the strongest thing you can do. If any of this resonated with you, if you felt that relief and that guilt all at once, subscribe if you want. There's more coming that might make sense of other things you felt but never had words for.